ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ না ভজিলে জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ ভক্তি বিনোদ উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মাথুরে একবার নাম রসে মাথুরে নাম গায় মধুসারে মধুসারে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Share Jai Guru Madhu Share Radha Madhava Jai Bihari Madhava Gopichana Vallabha Jai Girivardhari Jai Girivardhari Girivardhari Jai Jashodanandana Jai Brajajana Randana Jai Brajajana Randana Brajajana Randana Jashodanandana Jai Brajajana Randana Jai Brajajana Randana Jana Ranjana Jai Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Kunja Vihari Jai Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jai Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajaka Ashta Tadasara Sushamachala Abhacharnara Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Shami Shri Prabhupada Ki ISKCON founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Kantat Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Sisinita Go Shidanat Brahmanandi Hari Hari Go.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We are very, very fortunate. Just adjust the sound. Hare Krishna. So we are very fortunate to have with us the association of His Grace Atul Krishna Prabhu. We were all expecting Prabhuji to be there with us at Gaur Purnima festival, and for some reasons Prabhu couldn't come, but he's here today, and we are so enlivened by his wonderful association. Just hearing Vaishnav songs from him is like transporting us into the Gaudiya era of Mahaprabhu's kirtans. So Prabhu is actually born in Australia, Melbourne. He came to Krishna consciousness more than 3 decades, and he has been actually doing book distribution, fundraising in Melbourne, and then he moved to Bangladesh. And he moved to Bangladesh for many years. He learned Bengali and he had been preaching. And the main attraction for Rath Yatra is His Grace Atul Krishna Prabhu with his Bengali talk and Bengali anchoring. And we are very fortunate that we all studied under him. Many of the devotees here are students who have studied TTC, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. I think some Bhakti Vedanta also, few students. So Prabhu has been very instrumental in developing MIHE, Mayapur Institute of Higher Education, and developing so many courses, the educational wing of ISKCON. So he is really blessing the whole ISKCON community by encouraging education. And recently, as I hear, Prabhu is also taking interest in discovering and establishing the pilgrimage places of Mahaprabhu, Navadvip Mandal, and Bangladesh, various other places. So we are very blessed to have his association today here. So we'd like to welcome him to ISKCON Newtown by loudly chanting 3 times, Haribo! 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 Praise Atul Krishna Prabhu ki!
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sadamu Bhagate Dharma Jnana Divishaha Kalo Nashta Trisham Esha Purana Karunoditaha. Adhano Yam Dhanam Prapya Madhyan Uchair Namam Shmaret Iti Karuniko Nunam Dhanam Me Budina Dadat Adhano Yam Dhanam Prapya Madhyan Uchair Namam Shmaret Iti Karuniko Nunam Dhanam Me Budina Dadat. Please chant. Matrimandoli. Adanaha. Four persons, Adana. I am this Dhanam, riches, Prapya, obtaining, Madhyan, delighting, Uchai, excessively, Na, not, Mam, me, Shmaret, will remember, Iti, thus thinking, Kurunikai, compassionate, Nunam, indeed, Dhanam, wealth, may, to me, Bhuri, slight, na datat. He did not give. Translation, thinking if this poor wretch suddenly becomes rich, previous verses, yes? I'm supposed to read from 17, I think? 17. Let's take 17. He treated me just like one of his brothers, making me sit on the bed of his beloved consort. And because I was fatigued, his queen personally fanned me with a yak-tail chamara. Although he is the Lord of all the demigods and the object of worship for all the Brahmins, he worshipped me as if I were a demigod myself, massaging my feet and rendering other humble services. There it is, Pada Samvahanadivi. That's Sanskrit for foot massage. Pada Samvahanadivi. Devotional service to his lotus feet is the root cause of all the perfection a person can find in heaven, in liberation, in the subterranean regions on the earth. Thinking, if this poor wretch suddenly becomes rich, he will forget me in his intoxicating happiness. The compassionate Lord did not grant me even a little wealth. Purport, Sudama's statement that Lord Krishna bestowed upon him not even a little wealth may also be taken to mean that instead of giving him wealth, that was a buddhi, slight, the Lord in fact gave him the immense treasure of his association. This alternate meaning has been suggested by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Bande aham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalang Shri Guru and Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Shagadajatam Shahagana Raganatam Vitang Shachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichanashaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Sri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Shibi Shakangitang Shamantar Guru Chota Shikha Guru Ganta Chadane Age Kodia Bandhan Pancha Kalpaturubhya Ashtaka Vashanda Bevacha Patitanam Pavane Babashnaveva Namo Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Shashwati Deva Gaudavani Vichane Nirvishesha Shandavari Prashtata Deshtane. Dhruva Maharaj exclaimed to the Lord, Kachan Vichin Mangan Api Dibya Ratnam Swamin Katata Osmi Varam Najayate. When he took the darshan of Lord Vishnu, he was offered the benediction. He said at that time, Varam Najayate, I desire nothing because I have your association. Kachan Vichinvan, I was searching up the broken pieces of glass, Api Dibya Ratnam. And you've given me such a transcendental gem of your association. So I desire nothing more than that. In general, even in pious effort, in endeavor for piety, or the punyaman, dharma chare modhe, bahut karma nishto. Mahaprabhu is explaining to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, Dharmachari Modde, amongst those who are religious, Dharmachari Modde, Bahut Karma Nishta. Everyone is attached to regulative rituals, prescribed duties. Dharmachari Modde, Bahut Karma Nishta. Why is that? Because they want to enjoy the results of piety. Karma Nishta. They by following, they're doing the duty, giving charity, being the grihastha dharma, or even the sannyas. It's also dharma. It's also karma. Sannyas karma. It's also prescribed duties. You get punya. If you're not chanting Hare Krishna, and you become sannyasi, and you become perfect sannyasi, and you go to Svarga, you go to actually not Svarga, Siddha Loka, Tapaloka, Siddha Loka, Jana Loka, Brahma Loka. So sannyas in itself doesn't actually give you prema, Krishna prema. It gives you the enjoyment, material enjoyment. Muni putra kamajiva. Oh, son of the rishi, die now because you'll enjoy so much. Muni putra kamajiva, son of the Muni, die now because you only have so much enjoyment. So generally people appears religious because they want the happiness. They want the prosperity. They want the auspiciousness. They want ashirvad. And for that reason, God can give. And it's true. It's true. When Prabhupada was on the train one time, and one gentleman came, aristocratic, Bhadralok. Swamiji, Ashirvad din amake ami doridra. Ashirvad din. And Prabhupada said, oh, you want my blessing? My blessing, you become like these sannyasis. And he said, Tika Swamiji. Tokanai blessing. But even the materialist, even the so-called spiritualist, the artha, there's wealth. There's wealth. That everybody is doing everything. They're so busy. The roads are so busy. In the morning time, the people are going here and there. They get up early every day with great devotion and commitment and dedication. And they're very reliable. They work every day, every day, every day. But if you don't pay them money, then they won't do it. The whole thing is based upon getting that money. And the people, they're happy with that. They become attached to that. Here he's saying, if he gives me the money, I'll become bewildered. Nitai na bolilo mukhe majilo shongsha shukhe. Narottam Thakur is singing that they're actually happy. They're happy in the material comfort. Material comfort. We actually, we become happy. The senses are satisfied. A full belly, a place to sleep. Aha nidra bhai maitun. Aha nidra bhai maitun. When these requirements are fulfilled, the person is happy, actually. So actually that happiness can become an obstacle for spiritual advancement. Because one becomes bewildered. One becomes attached. Bhogashaya prashakdanam. Tvayapurita chetasam. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Bhoga ashvarya prashakdanam. When you become attached to bhoga, enjoyment of the senses, bhoga, and aishwarya is wealth. Those two things Krishna mentions. Aishwarya, it's called aishwarya. Aishwarya, because it's like, because you get control, with money you have control. Aishwarya, Isha, you can control. You pay people. Whatever you want, you can become the king if you have the money. In this country, that's what people do. They make money, then they make an apartment, then they have a driver, they have a cook, they have many assistants in the home, and they're comfortable, and they can control everything. They control. They feel like they're in control. They're enjoying. What I want, I can get. But without money, it's impossible. Money is everything in the material world. Everyone is bewitched. They're bewitched. This is the most important thing. Nate vidu shartakatam durashaya bahir artha manina. Durashaya bahir artha manina. The bahir, the external energy. Artha manina. Artha is so valuable to them. They're thinking. External energy is everything. It becomes so dependent. This is materialism. Material life. But there's no alternative. There's no alternative. This is the meaning of life. Material existence. So you get money. What is that one? Grinam Gritva. What is that? Rinam Kritva. Grinam Prabet. How does that go? What? Get ghee. Yavat jivet shukam jivet. Get ghee and be happy. Now it's money. At least at the Vedic times it was ghee. It's so aristocratic. At least ghee is valuable. You remember when they had currency devaluation? You remember? It was people. It was a traumatic. It was terrible experience. That they're chasing after the 500 rupee notes. It's everything to them. It's everything to them. The 500 rupee notes, big stack of them. And then overnight, the Prime Minister, just like Bhagwan, he has to come himself. Otherwise, people will not accept. Dharma Shangstapanataya Shambhavami. Dharma Shangstapanataya Shambhavami Juge Juge. I come. Because if he doesn't come, there will be question. Well, maybe. Yes. So the highest authority, he came and he said that no more. There's 500 rupee notes, and there was 1,000 rupee notes too. Yes. No more value. 500, wasn't it? A big 500 ones devalued. The next day we were taking the train. Bhagirati in the morning. You know that there's a Moshala Muri. They're selling Moshala Muri, and the little paper that you put. They were using the 500 rupee notes. Because what else can we use it for? See, the power of the mind. The power of the mind. Actually, there was no value in that 500 rupee note anyway. How illusory that value is, that it can be taken away. It means that the value was not there. But we're in the mind, we think it's so valuable. So you see, we're thinking that because we connect the 500 rupee note to the enjoyment. And this is materialistic thinking. Actually, the wealth of the brahmachari life is that you're liberated. Everyone else is Maya Jale Baddha Hoye, Achal Miche Kaj Loye, we sang. Maya Jale, in the illusion is like a net. You can never, it's entangling you from all directions. Maya Jale Baddha. You're bound up. There's no way out. Sometimes we meet the people and they say, well, Prabhu, I have to be at the office at 8 in the morning. It's like an absolute statement. Practically speaking, you don't have to be at the office at 8, but you have bound yourself up. There's like no question of not being there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I have to be in the office at 8. It's like there's no question that's like an absolute fact. Yeah? You have actually bound yourself up into obligations which are illusory. In this country, even from childhood, one is indoctrinated to think in this way. They're out of fear, have to get education. You know that they get the tutor for the young boy, young girl. They have when they're 2 or 3 years old. Already they're hiring a tutor. And I hear that the suicide rate in the colleges, the students are under so much pressure. That is, they haven't even begun. That's just to get qualified to become a mudha. Just to get qualifications to become a mudha. They're in so much anxiety. There's indoctrination in the social values, in the family values, in the friends. Everybody is indoctrinating. Money is everything in life. You have to get a career, you have to make money. That is the goal of life. That is without exception. Everyone is in a bewildered state. A brahmachari is actually liberated. That's the wealth of brahmachari life. He can forget about money. He can forget about money. That's liberated. And he can vasandantu guru hitan. He can simply focus his mind on pleasing the senses, serving the mission of Guru and pleasing the senses of Sri Hari. That's liberated platform. That's our eternal function. Rishikena Rishikesha Shevanam. That's our eternal function. And through the Guru, one can attain that platform. That's a wealth of Brahma. Therefore, the brahmachari is a worshipable soul. It's worshipable. And because he's actually liberated soul. If he's genuine, some they come to this movement because to get money, and even the brahmachari, everything. And then maybe if they're a good pujari, they'll get invited to the Western countries. And then that's the whole purpose of coming to the movement. So not that type of brahmachari, but the genuine, the spiritual. But even that's rare. Dharmachari modhe bahut karma nishta. Koti karma nishta modhe ajnani shrestha. Even amongst 10 million of those who have faith in pious activities, amongst 10 million, you'll find a person who's actually interested in liberation. That they're not enamored by the temporary Shangspashaja Boga Dukkha Yonaya Evate. It's actually the pleasures of this world, Shangspashaja Bhoga, a Dukkha Yonaya. Krishna says that enjoyment, the pleasure, the senses, that's called Shangspashaja Bhog. Shangspasha, the contact with the senses, with the objects. The eyes, they want to see the beauty, that's Rup. The ears, they want to hear the Shabda. The tongue, it wants to, the Rasha. The smell, the Gandha. And the touch, the Sparsha. This is all material world has got to offer us. That's all the pleasure is available in this world. The beauty, the sound, the taste, the smell, the touch, and the mind, kind of throws a mashallah, mixes it up, makes it seem like it's so wonderful. That's it. In various permutations, combinations. It doesn't go beyond that. The material pleasure. The beauty, the sound, the taste, the touch, the smell. And the mind, it adds it in there to add some fantasy or reality. Mana shashtani indriyani prakritishtani karshati. Mana, the mind and the six senses. Mana shashtani indriyani prakritishtani karshati. But actually this is a miserable existence. Krishna says that pleasure the senses give, the dukkha yonaya evate, is actually the root of the birth of the place where the misery is generated. I was in Dhaka. I lived in Dhaka for 2 years. Dhaka. That's enough, I think. If you can live in Dhaka for 2 years, you can retire. You can retire after that. I lived in Dhaka for 2 years. There was no AC. It was summertime, no AC. Tin roof on the top of the ash, on top of our temple, tin roof. Sometimes I still hear the sound of that fan. Jigga, 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 all day. So anyway, the people there, they like football. Football? They're crazy about football. Even you go to remote village, in Nauka, the boat up the river, remote village. It takes a day or two to get there. It's walking through the jungle. You come to the village, there's a program there, you see the sign at a flat, Argentina, Ronaldo. Is this in a remote village of Bangladesh. So they're watching their World Cup. It's in the middle of the night. It was in France. So the daytime in the middle, it's in 1 o'clock in the morning in Dhaka. And everyone, they get up in the middle of the night to watch the football. The whole of the city. We're living there. We're surrounded by thousands and thousands of people. 1 o'clock in the morning, you hear everyone up. And the TV's on. We could hear the whole game. Hear the whole game. And it wasn't exactly kirtan, But it was like Shankirtan all together in harmony. The whole of the city, when the ball was going one end, a goal. And we're lying there. We're not watching it, but we could hear everything. And then all of a sudden, a big sound, and then black, boom, and then you hear the anguish. The people, they're crying in pain. Oh, and they're sitting in the darkness. Karen Cholegi. Ronaldo's just running with the ball, and then boom, black, and you hear, oh, the pain. The pain. Karen Cholegi. Now, actually, we were not feeling any pain. You see? We were not feeling any pain. So this is the deal in the material world, that the more attached, the more you become dependent upon that Shankspashaja Bhoga, the more you become attached to that pleasure, the more you feel the pain of the duality of this world. Because you're dependent, so that hurts so much more when it's not there. It hurts so much more. But when you're not dependent, when it's not there, then there's no pain. This is Gyan. It's actually Gyan. It's Gyan. It's a Gyan. Even that level, to understand this is a rare thing. Koto karma nishta modde ek Gyani shrestha. Out of 10 million pious who have faith in the Shastra and follow regularly, out of 10 million, ek Gyani shrestha, you'll find one who's actually understands. Everyone else, their religion is simply to get give me money, give me money, give me money, solve my problems. And most people who are religious. And very rare you find a Gyani who understands that material happiness, it cannot fulfill my hankering. It's not enough. Why? Because Krishna, adyantavanta kuntaya nate shuramate buddha. Adyantavanta kunta. Adi anta vanta. It comes and it goes. Adyantavanta kunta. It doesn't stay. But we want the happiness that doesn't go away. That even you don't have to put effort, it's there. That's what the soul is hankering for. Without effort, I'm fully happy. Purnanando, Nityanando. Without effort. That's what I'm looking for. But in the material world, there's happiness, but at the cost of so much effort. And even you put the effort, you get the happiness, it doesn't stay. It goes away. And they realize that, so they take shelter of God. Please give me happiness. Without you, I can't get happiness. Okay, that's better than an atheist. But that happiness, that what you will get, you're asking God for that, it's not actually enough. Adyantavanta kuntaya. It has an end. It doesn't stay. In fact, material happiness, the more that you enjoy, the less pleasure you get. The more you try material things. Just watch a movie the first time. Wow, so exciting. So much adventure. So many surprises. Watch it again. Reasonable. Well, watch it 5 times. We'll put you in the chair. We'll tie you up. We'll keep playing the same movie 20 times. It'll become so painful. Turn it off. In the beginning, it was the more you take, the less pleasure you get. The less it gives you pleasure. This is the punishment in this world. And the people, they think that the devotee, yani shisharva bhutanam yasham jagati bhutani. The time of awakening for the self-controlled is the night time of the introspective sage. The people that they look and they think, they have to fast, they get no intoxication, no illicit sex, no drinking, no. They think it's pain. They think that's suffering. They think, you can't. There's so many things you cannot do. Actually, we can do. It's not that we cannot do. We can do, but they cannot do without. We can do, but we can do without. We're happy without, but they cannot live without. So who's got restrictions? They think we have a life of restriction. No, we have no. Our life is not restricted, but they're constantly restricted by their sensual and mental demands. They cannot deny. They cannot ignore. They're forced to be the servant of their senses and mind. And in the end, they're nothing from that. Bipal shebunu kripana duruchan. Chopal shuka lava lagire. Bipal sheba. After 40, 50 years, the senses, oh, Prabhuji, you have served us so nicely. We're satisfied today. Akichud lagbena. Jotesto heche amade. Shantushto. Shampunno. The senses will never say that. For decades and decades and decades, you're devotedly like a slave. And the senses, oh, you've served us so nice for decades and decades. We've had enough. Thank you. Congratulations, you're a free man. They never, to the last breath, they never stop demanding. Koti karma nishta modde, ek jnani shrestha. It's so rare to find a person who can actually recognize the misery of this world. Koti jnani modde hoy ekjon mukta. And out of 10 million jnanis, you'll only find one genuinely liberated soul. Koti jnani modde hoy ekjon mukta, koti mukta modde dhulab ek Krishna bhakta. And out of 10 million liberated souls, it's rare to find a devotee of Krishna. And today I've come to Gaura-Nitai Mandir in Newtown, Kolkata, and I'm surrounded by hundreds of devotees of Krishna. How fortunate I am. How Prabhupada is so kind to give us this opportunity. Before there was just fields here. There's just fields here and maybe land for sale. And ISKCON, we got there, and now the devotees are coming together. This Prabhupada, what he has done, how he has been kind upon us, how he's made it easy for us to attain perfection in life. So Sudama, he's thinking that it's unfortunate that I don't have this wealth. Now it's not that, oh, I'm not so sure now about this Krishna consciousness that, Krishna won't give me wealth because I'll forget him. So maybe I'll skip the Krishna consciousness thing, and it's not like that. See, actually, generally, you see the devotees, they enjoy prosperity and affluence. We see, like for example, my own personal example. I joined this movement. I was 19, 20 years old. Now I'm 60. But I never had a job. I never had employment like a boss and a salary. Never. And I travel like a celebrity around the world. They pick me up at the airport. They take me to the place. They host me. And I never had a job. And that's. Of course, not that we're motivated by that, but that's because we're not bewildered. And Krishna can give. Because if we're not bewildered. There was one great Vaishnava. His name, in the Kirtan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Navadip, Goshunda was doing the Kirtan, performing Kirtan. And suddenly, he began calling out, Pundarik, oh Pundarik, oh Pundarik, Bap, Pundarik, Father. He's calling out, Bap, Pundarik, in the middle of the Kirtan. And the devotees were perplexed. They said, what? They said, the Pundarik, he said, Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahashai. And then the devotees said, who is this Pundarik? We've heard Pundarik is the name of the Lord. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who is his Vidyan? And they asked Mahaprabhu, tell us, who is this person you're calling? And from his own lips, Goshala, he began to glorify the characters through Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahodai. He's from Chattogram, Purva Bengal Bhumi, Chattogram. গিয়েছেন এখানে কেউ চট্টগ্রামে কেউ গিয়েছেন হাত তুলুন special place Chattogram. There is a Pundarik Vidyanidhi Vasudev Datta Mukunda Datta Janmasthan Gadadha Pandit Janmasthan. Actually in 2 weeks I'm going Bangladesh and we will be in Chattogram on the May 8th, which is the Shubha Avibhav Titi Mahotsav of Gadadha Pandit, and we'll be inaugurating our project there at Gadadha Pandit's birthplace. And we were discussing just before how even without desiring and hankering for these things, Krishna bestows so much in material enjoyment upon a devotee beyond our expectations. So we were another wonderful benediction that I received just by good fortune. I happened to be in the place at that time that we had Gadadha Pandit, this Gadadha Pandit's birthplace. I think I'm the first foreign person to ever go there. We just discovered within the last 1 year Gadadha Pandit's birthplace. You ever heard before? Never heard. So we just discovered. And after we put the sign, 1-2 months after, then I went there. The first foreign person to ever go. That's like, for me, that's like a adulation for life, right? That I had that good fortune. Foreign Vaishnava to actually go to that place and roll in the dust. That's the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. They give you such an honor. So Gadadha Pandit, he was from that place. Mukunda Datta, Vasudev Datta, Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Mahaprabhu began to explain that he is such a Vaishnava that he has a place in Navadip, he had a place in East Bengal. When he comes to Navadip, then he doesn't bathe in the Ganga because it's so painful for him when he sees the normal people there washing their clothes and washing their hair and spitting in the Ganga. That's so painful for him that he doesn't go. Navadip Dham Gaur Mandal Bitare Jana Bir Shevite Hoye Shada Shobha Kore. Ma Ganga Navadip Dham Gaur Mandal Bitare Jana Bir Shevita Hoye. The service of Janobi, Ma Ganga, Shada Shobha Kore. She beautifies Navadip Dham. Flowing, the Navadip 9 islands, they're created by Ma Ganga. Her service is to beautify Navadip Dham, Shoda Shobha Kore, Ganga Janabi Shebita Hoye. Her service is to beautify Navadip Dham. Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya Taitika Jahapai Navadip Sharane Shailab Shastragai. Just by remembering Navadip. Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya. Taitika Jahabai. What you attain by traveling to all Sarva Tirtha, all holy places. Sarva Tirtha Brahmaya. Taitika Jahabai. What the pilgrim gets by traveling to all holy places. Navadip Sharane. Shailab Shastragai. By remembering Navadip, you get that credit of traveling to all the holy places. So any opportunity we get to remember Navadip and her glory and the beauty, we will mention. So Mahaprabhu is explaining from his own lips that he doesn't, it's too painful for him to go to the Ganga and see that. So he goes at night and pays his respects to Ma Ganga. And his appearance is like that of a materialist. Bishai Prai Tar Porichet Shop. Bishai Prai Tar Porichet. Everyone thinks of him as a materialist. Chinitana Parik Teho Shait Vaishnav. No one can, they don't recognize him as a Vaishnav. For that reason, he dresses in such an opulent way because he doesn't desire, he doesn't want people to respect him, to consider him a Vaishnav. Bishai praita porichet shab chinitana pare teho shaida Vaishnav. So he came to Navadip. At that time, Gadada Pandit. Actually, Gadada Pandit was seeking the association of a great Vaishnava. And he's mentioning that on this path, those who are on this path, they all have the shelter of a Vaishnava, Upadeshta, who can give them instruction. But I do not have such a Vaishnav. So Gadada Pandit was actually seeking the shelter of a guru. And his dear friend Mukunda Datta, because they're both from Chottagram, Gadada Pandit and Vasudev Datta, Mukunda Datta, they're both from Chottagram. They're very, very intimate friends. Mukunda Datta, he said, oh, you're desiring to see great Vaishnava? Then today, let me take you to see great Vaishnava. It's Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai had come from East Bengal. So Gadada Pandit, very eagerly, he accompanied Mukunda Datta. And then they came into the presence of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai. He's sitting on a couch. Actually, it's called a kuchuzi. It's like on one side, there's the rest. It's like you can lie down, silk and satin cushions. And he was dressed in the most luxurious clothes, opulent, beautiful, and beautiful long black hair, anointed with fragrant oils. And Gopi Chandan dots decorating his forehead. His lips were reddish from chewing pan. And he had a beautiful brass spittoon where he would spit, and a plate with pan. And there were two servants with a chamor. See? He's a wealthy man. He's a wealthy man. He had servants just for fanning him. Wealthy man. And the beautiful, most opulent, and the Gadada Pandit, Mukunda Datta bought him. Gadada Pandit, in his mind, he's thinking, what kind of Vaishnava is this? What kind of Vaishnava is this? He's a luxurious, he's attached to the finery of material comforts. The Vaishnavas, they're renowned souls. So Mukunda Datta, he could understand that Gadada Pandit was his mentality was actually polluted. He's thinking in this way. We also think the mind. Sometimes the mind, we criticize the Vaishnava. Why him? How come he's first? No, I'm here. It isn't. The mind, it says to you. Critical, the mind. Fortunately, in Kali Yuga, it's not considered an offense, but you cannot speak. Don't speak, even though your mind is thinking, who does he think he is? That guy, he's so proud, and he's so attached to his position. In the mind, we think, but try to keep it. Don't let it go beyond the mind, and don't speak with others. Don't speak sadhu ninda. Don't criticize a Vaishnava. But in a mind out of control. So anyway, Gadada Pandit, he was thinking, what kind of Vaishnava is this? And Mukunda Datta, he could understand. So he quoted, let me show Gadada Pandit what kind of Vaishnava is Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai. So Gadada Pandit, Mukunda Datta had such a sweet voice that when he would do kirtan, and the Vaishnavas would all cry, hearing his kirtan, hearing his sweet voice. So he sang the verse from Bhagavatam, which describes how merciful is Krishna, that Putana, she came to offer the breast with poison to kill him. And he accepted that and then gave up her life, and she was promoted to being a nurse in Kolkata. How merciful is this? This is actually Uddhav to Vidura. When in third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vidura is inquiring about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan from Uddhava. And Uddhava is mentioning this killing of the Putana demon. How merciful is Krishna. So when Mukunda Datta, he quoted that verse from the Bhagavatam, then hearing that, Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahada, he's sitting in his comfortable, opulent, luxurious. When he heard that verse, immediately became the feelings of love of Godhead that overwhelmed him, overwhelmed him, and he became the eruptions of bhav bhakti, prem bhakti, and the symptoms: horripilation, trembling, stamba, kampa, pulakasra, gadgara pralay. Stamba, becoming stunned like a pillar. Pulakasra, the shivering of the body. Kampa, the hair standing on end. Gadgada, this rolling on the ground. So they sit just hearing one verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We're hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam for many, many years. We're hearing the chanting. It's repeated many times. We repeated 6-7 times, and still we're sitting stone-hearted. One verse he heard. He got overwhelmed. One time I asked His Holiness Srila Jaya Potaka Shami Maharaj. I said, because we read in the Chaitanya Lila, Goswami Grantha, we read Gada Gada. There's a rolling on the ground. When Goshundar went to Prayag. Actually, Prabhupada, he begins the book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. You know that book? Prabhupada wrote that in 1968. Before he even was considering translating Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada wrote Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And to introduce Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western, in English, to the Western world, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And that book, it's a summary of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it doesn't begin in the Adi Lila. It don't mention Adi Lila in the beginning of that book. Even it doesn't begin in the Madhya Lila. It begins in chapter 19. That's a Rupshika, teachings to Rupa Goswami. It doesn't even begin in the beginning of the chapter. The book begins when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to the temple of Bindu Madhav in Prayag. And he's surrounded. Tens of thousands of people are following him. Some are crying, some are laughing, some are dancing, some are rolling on the ground. Why Srila Prabhupada began the book with that scene? Only you can. We didn't ask him, but you can consider why he chose that as the opening vision to introduce Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world. He could have selected anything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Navadip under the neem tree. He's called Nemai, Jagannath Mishra, Sachiv. No. He introduced, the first thing he said about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, is not even the beginning of the book, not even the beginning of the chapter. Mahaprabhu is there, and the people, tens and thousands of people are in ecstasy as he's performing Sankirtan in Prayag. Very interesting that Prabhupada, he began the book with that scene. So there it mentions that people were rolling on the ground. So I asked His Holiness, can devotees roll on the ground in the kirtan? It's mentioned many times, the rolling on the ground. Goshunda himself demonstrates in Shantipur, Kirtan Korite Prabhu Sharva Bhav Udoy. When the kirtan would begin, Sharva Bhav Udoy, all of the symptoms of bhava would erupt in the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Stamba, Kampa, Pulakasru, Gadgara, Pralay. Stamba, he become like a pillar. Stamba, Kampa, his body is quivering. Pulakasru, the eruptions on the like a jackfruit, ripe jackfruit. Gadgada, rolling on the ground. And pralay, devastation, in the kirtan, Mahaprabhu. Kirtan Korite Prabhu Sharva Bhav Udoy. When he would hear the kirtan, the symptoms would erupt. So I asked Maharaj, I say, in the kirtan, devotees, can we roll on the ground? And His Holiness's response was very interesting. He said that if you make a decision, now I will roll on the ground. Please give some room. Prabhus, give me some space. I'm going to roll on the ground. That type of rolling on the ground, we don't do. In other words, I'll make a decision now, I'm going to roll on. But if you cannot control yourself, then you can roll on the ground. It's not that you make a decision, now I will roll, let me see, shall I roll on the ground now? Well, a bit of space there, oh, there's enough room. Oh, no, but you can't control yourself. That's babu doi. You cannot control. In fact, you want to. Mahaprabhu many times. He was crossing in the same Leela, actually, same chapter. He's crossing the river with Rupa and Anupam. They're taken by Balabhadra Bhattacharya to, I think it's Adilagram, on the other side of the Ganga. They went on the boat of Ganga. And when Mahaprabhu, he saw the Ganga, it looked blackish. He became overwhelmed. And he's on the boat and he's ecstatic symptoms. And they're worried the boat will sink. And the water is coming in. They're going down. Somehow or other, they got to the... Mahaprabhu, he was trying to restrain himself because of Balabhadra Bhattacharya, a great Brahmin, Pandit, Vaishnav scholar, was sitting there. And Mahaprabhu, he felt embarrassed about the symptoms. He was trying to restrain. So Mukundadatta, he quotes the verse from the Bhagavatam. It's not Pundarik not saying, oh, now I'll tear my clothes off and roll on the ground. No, he can't control himself. He hears the Bhagavatam, he's tearing off his clothes, his hair here and there disheveled. Boom, the spittoon for pan, the plate, everything, boom, scattered here and there. He's tearing his cloth off, the cushions, everything torn apart. He hits the ground, he's on the ground, he's rolling on the ground. And then he goes into unconscious state for 6 hours. 6 hours, unconscious state. And during then, Gadadha Pandit and Mukundadatta, he's discussing, Gadadha Pandit, what have I done? What have I in my mind, I was considering this person attached to material enjoyment. And I was thinking of him in a demeaning way, not understanding his actual consciousness, his elevated love of Godhead. And Gadadha Pandit was so much remorseful. And then he explained that I will take shelter, I will surrender. I was seeking a spiritual master. So I will become the disciple of Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadaya. I'll become his disciple because the spiritual master, he forgives the offenses of the disciple. That's his nature. So in this way, I'll be relieved from my offense. And then when Pundarik Vidyanidhi came back to consciousness, Mukundadatta, he said that it is Gadadha, he wants to become your disciple. Is that... Shujog Pundarik Gadadha, and is a very, Mukundadatta was explaining, such a wonderful Shujog, qualified disciple and a qualified spiritual master. And of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to hear. Now, who is Pundarik Vidyanidhi and Gadadha Pandit? Who is Gadadha Pandit? Gadadha Pandit is Sri Radhika Prakash. Srimati Radharani, she appears within the Panchatattva. Why is that? Well, in Vrindavan, Sri Radhika, she could associate with Nanda Dulal occasionally when they could find the appropriate situation, confidentially. So he appears, Sri Radhika, she assumes the form of Gadadha Pandit, and she becomes a lifelong friend of Gaudhari, and he's together, they're together all the time. In fact, Sachimata, she requested Gadadha Pandit, you never leave Nimai. You never leave the association of Nimai. Because, so Gadadha Pandit in the Panchatattva, he was always with Gaudhari. Sri Radhika occasionally would meet with Nanda Dulal. So Gadadha Pandit, Sri Radhika assumes the form of Gadadha Pandit. And the father of Sri Radhika, his name is Vrishabhanu Maharaj. So this Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he appeared as Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai. So in the Kirtan, Mahaprabhu is feeling that relationship, just like Sri Radhika has relationship with Vrishabhanu Maharaj. So Mahaprabhu is feeling the closeness and association of sort of Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai. And he, from his own lips, he personally explained that, glorifying his nature and his quality. But he was a very wealthy man. He was a very wealthy man. He had his property in East Bengal. That's a large property. ISKCON has that property, or his birthplace. He had his property in Navadip, and he would travel with his servants. He was a wealthy man. But the wealth didn't affect him. This is the this is the character of a Vaishnava. And this is why the Vaishnava can Krishna may bestow great wealth on the Vaishnava. Just like Prabhupada. Prabhupada became sannyasi. There's many stories about that we can say. You know, Prabhupada, he did it. It wasn't required for him to live in the ashram as a brahmachari and go through that training. Generally, the sannyasis in Prabhupada's godbrothers, Gaudiya, sannyasis, they were brahmacharis. They joined the ashram, they joined the mott. They were trained brahmacharis, many decades, they become sannyasis. And Prabhupada said that Krishna spared me from that. He didn't need that. Prabhupada didn't need to sleep on the floor and be a brahmachari. He didn't need that. That's not he's already so. He became a sannyasi. He became a sannyasi. Gave up everything. Even he was a householder with I think 3 or 4 sons and daughters. I think 2 daughters or 1 daughter. Who knows? 2 daughters and 3 or 4 sons. Big family. And of course, Yashaham. Tanugri Hare Shetad Danam Shanai. Then Tado Janam Sajat Jana Swajana Dukudugidam. He'll take it away. And Prabhupada said that this is what Krishna did to me. In his astrology, he was meant to be a very rich man, amongst the top 10 in India. But he became, his business all collapsed. He was cheated. His assistants, they weren't working properly. He was in debt. And eventually he had to sell out the business, to that, I think, Govinda Ghosh, the pharmaceuticals, Bengal pharmaceuticals. Prabhupada had to sell the business. He was in debt. He had to sell the business. He failed. Then he became sannyasi. Prabhupada, first Vanaprastha and then sannyasi. When he left, he had nothing. He left India, had nothing. He stayed in a dharamshala in Kolkata. I don't know where, but somewhere before he came, and the Kirtpur dock. And no family, no facility in Kolkata, dharamshala. And then one son, Vrindavan, he came and took Prabhupada in a taxi to that port. We went, last time I was here, we went to that port, Kirtpur. It's a very rough place. There's no nice waiting lounge with an LCD screen and a cafeteria while you wait for you. No, it's just like a cargo port. And Prabhupada got the berth on the Jaladuta. He had no money. I think it was 40 rupees. He had no money. And then Prabhupada, Krishna bestowed so much wealth on Prabhupada. He had properties in all the major cities of the world. Can you believe what materialists would be can compare? In Paris, he had his quarters. In New York, he had his skyscraper building. Manhattan, New York, 5-story building. In London, in the city in London, in the country estate in London, in England, in all the major cities of the world, in Germany, in Paris, in London, in New York, in Los Angeles, in San Francisco. He's got his apartments with hundreds of servants, with many, many vehicles. I mean, you cannot calculate the opulence that was bestowed upon Prabhupada. And you read his purports, first canto, in Vrindavan, at Radha Damana Mandir, you read Prabhupada has nothing. He's an elderly sannyasi. In Vrindavan, you can imagine Vrindavan 70 years ago? Can you imagine Vrindavan 70 years ago? I mean, just see how much Vrindavan has developed. Even in my lifetime, I first went 30 years ago. There was nothing on that main road. In the afternoon, it'd be quiet. It's like you go shave up, a little tea stall outside Krishna Balaram Mandir. That was that was 30 years ago. And now? We used to walk. You walk out the back of Vrindavan, Radha Shamshunda Krishna Balaram Mandir. You'd walk, and within a few minutes, you'd be in the fields, in the farming area. In 2 decades, Vrindavan has become such a city. Can you imagine what Vrindavan would have been like 70 years ago? Before there was no ISKCON? Before there was, you imagine how quiet and Prabhupada was living in poverty in Vrindavan. And he's writing in the association of Rupa Goswami. There's one letter there in the Radha Damana temple. Prabhupada's room is a letter he wrote. He said that he said the Goswamis are present in this temple and they communicate with you. He's a letter on the table. Prabhupada's rooms in Vrindavan. Who's been? What is the use of a birth in the land of Bharat if you haven't been to Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan? He said it's the center of the universe. One of the most important tirtha, of course here we have Ulta Danga Road. It's most important tirtha places in the universe. And we have Vrindavan, the Radha Damodar, where Prabhupada lived and wrote the Bhagavatam, first canto. He says the Goswamis, he says they reside here and they can communicate with you. There's a letter. He's saying that this is I'm eternally... Of course, they don't communicate with us, but they're communicating with Prabhupada. He was writing the Bhagavatam purports. So you read those purports. Prabhupada, 5 rupees a month he was paying. He was paying 5 rupees a month. Could you imagine how Vrindavan was like 70 years ago? A room like that in the temple of Srila Jiva Goswami, that Vrindavan, that Radha Damodar temple, that's always packed. That's always packed. There's always hundreds of people in that. He had a room just there. He was paying 5 rupees a month. Just imagine what Vrindavan was like 70 years ago. There was no one. There was no one going to Vrindavan. And Prabhupada was writing the first canto purports. You read those purports. You read the purports in the 4th canto, the 5th canto. Prabhupada is a world. There's such opulence, as we were describing. His quarters in every main city of the world. Vehicles, properties, millions of dollars, dakshina, book publishing. You read the purports. They're exactly the same. Prabhupada is not affected in this when he's a pauper with managing a few rupees a month to pay his rent in Radha Damodar, and when he has millions and millions of dollars, and it doesn't affect him in any way. It's not affected in any way. He didn't change his behavior in any way. That's advanced Krishna consciousness. And so Krishna can bestow. So, Grihe ba bonete take ha gaudanga bole dake. What we sang this morning. What is that? How did it go? That Grihe tako, bone tako, shadahadi bole dako. So it doesn't for the devotee. There's wealth. It actually become you can be free from this anxiety. If it's not required, and Krishna may not give you any wealth, and that doesn't matter, because you have the holy name. Golokera prema dan, harinama shankirtan. Golokera prem dan. The riches of the spiritual world, harinam shankirtan, you can enjoy when you go into shankirtan and join in and dance in the kirtan. That is the highest wealth we can achieve. As much as we want, we can drink and become intoxicated, and as much as we want. And every day you can come and there's This kirtan, there's no end. The kirtan. And by performing the kirtan, all your desires will be fulfilled. Everything you require will be provided. Yoga, ananda chintayanta, ye jana palyupashate, ye jana palyu, that one who worships me, ananda chintayanto mam, focusing their mind completely, exclusively in my name, in my worship, palyupashate, ananda chintaya, ye jana palyupa, those who worship me in the Sankirtan, Tesham nitta abhijuktanam, nitta abhijukta. They're just fixed upon serving me, worshipping. Yogakshemam bahamiham. I will look after everything. I will provide everything. I gave my example. When I go to see my brothers and sisters, and what are you doing? I come to get a new passport. I show 4 or 5 passports I've used up. Boom, 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 boom. Stamps everywhere. And they scratch their head and they say, that which we desire, we work so hard. We cannot get, and you're not interested, you don't even want, and you get, how is it? So Krishna, he may make you very wealthy. He may make you very powerful. Actually, in this society, you come to this society, you become a leader, it's not so difficult to get followers and get facility. It's not very difficult. Because the movement expanding so much, is it? So even a new person becomes senior in a short period of time. This movement expanding so much, so many new people coming, that even you're here a short time, all of a sudden you become a very, very important man. So Krishna can give you these things: wealth, power, fame, notoriety, influence. Krishna, easy you can get. But you how to not become bewildered? You stay fixed up in the sadhana. You absorb your mind in chanting the holy name, and these things come and go. It won't be affected. So you may become greatly rich, greatly influential, greatly powerful person in this world. You may not become. Whatever Krishna desires, He will bestow upon us. Any questions today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for wonderful class. Actually, question is, as you were saying that senses are always demanding, demanding sense pleasure, some sense objects. So, will it have when will it happen in a life of a devotee, especially a grihastha? Will it ever be a time when senses will not demand any material objects? Is there any time limit
It's
or anything?
it's about the consciousness. I mean, the body will always have demands. Actually, as you get older, they become, in the young, you can neglect. And I was in the Radha Govinda Mandir, we were chanting in the morning on the balcony there. Many great stalwart Vaishnavas, Paramhanshas, have slept on the floor in on that balcony. And it's a special tirthastan. Many Paramhansha Vaishnavas, they lay on that floor in that balcony and slept there and took bath in that pukur. Many exalted Vaishnavas. So in a young age, but perhaps nowadays, perhaps we wouldn't expect them to do that, but in a young age, should another wealth of the brahmacharya, you can tolerate so much inconvenience and sleep here and there, and is it whatever prashadam is there? That's to help you understand that absorption in these things is material. In household life, it's difficult because somehow always the talk is about material things amongst the family members. Talk always about the price of cauliflower and this and that, and this is the politics. It's just household life. It's this chit chat about mundane things. So that's the consciousness. So it's easier if you're in the brahmacharis. It's easier because you'll be talking about the mission. So householder life, you have to be a little more expert. How to play the role of householder, but not the consciousness doesn't become absorbed. The consciousness doesn't become absorbed. But practically speaking, you're absorbed. Your activities, you're surrounded by the expansions of the the bodily relations. So you're in the environment, grihamandakupam. Grihamandakupam, generally people that finishes them completely. Spiritual life becomes out of the question. Grihamandakupam, they fall down the well. It's so deep that even they want to get out, they can't. Griham andakupam. So the consciousness, you have to fix the mind. You need the association of great Vaishnavas who can be merciful, give you something which is more, give you something to think about which is more satisfying. The great Vaishnavas, they can give you something to think about. So it's your consciousness. It's your consciousness. That's what counts. Your consciousness. So you absorb them. Find something where you can become absorbed in. That you're thinking about that. It draws your attention, attracts your mind. Krishna Karshan. Maya Shaktamana Krishna. Maya Shaktamana. Attach your mind to me. Maya Shaktamana. Yogam Yunjam Madasraya. Maya Shaktamana. Manmana. You have to find something. So even in the household life, you can be surrounded by these things, but the mind, the consciousness, you have to find a way to connect that to Krishna through the seva. And engage the family in helping you to do that seva. They can be absorbed in seva, and you can. The family should be the place where you get support for seva. You find some seva, and you bring down, you involve the whole family in that seva. And this way, the mind can be connected. This is the process, and therefore, Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he sings that Grihe Thakur Ba Bone Thakur Sada Hari Bole Dako. You do sadhana at home, and you fix your mind on the mission of the Lord. And in that way, whether you're amidst sensual comforts or not, it won't affect you. Anything else today? There's a question. Fast breaking. Let's go. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Huh? Yeah, we're done. Finish class. You all broke fast? Baron, you break fast?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I ask one question? Yes. Actually, in 14th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 11th canto, there is a mention something like a 9 dwaras in our human bodies.
Yeah.
So we have to control all the dwaras. If you are able to control ourselves, then we'll reach that levels, and we have to keep ourselves in Krishna Prema in our soul. So how to implement in our...
You control those by, you eat prasadam, your tongue, the door, you take prasadam, the holes in the body, the gates, 9, because through those gates, the consciousness connects with the material world. The consciousness connects with the material world. What you see, what you hear, are the gates. The sound comes in, you see the form, you taste, you smell. So those things you purify by connecting them to Krishna. So you taste the prasadam. What is that? That Srimad Tulasha Rasanam Tadarpite Mukunda Lingalaya Darshana Drisho. You see the form of the lobe of the eyes. The eyes become purified. Hari Achuta Kata Amrita. You hear the sounds of the glorified guna. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindaya Vaikunta Vachangshi Gunana Varnane. You hear the descriptions of the spiritual world. You purify, you vibrate with the tongue. You touch the Vaishnavas, you embrace the Vaishnavas, or you can worship the deity. And in this way, you purify the gates of the body. And in this way, the consciousness becomes purified. Thank you. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki.